thinking about this a lot recently. So I think what we're doing in creating the conditions for growth and for change to happen is we're opening a gap between the stimulus and the response. Mm-hmm. We look like under the microscope at what is happening in my body when I almost start to do a movement. And I open this gap between actually doing it and going for for an objective, and examine this beginning, this impulse. And this little gap is made of awareness. It's just a space that we normally don't have, because when we in our daily life, we have to perform, we have to do things, we go for something the whole time, and we just don't take the time, we don't have the time, so this gap doesn't exist. We have the intention and the action at the same time. Mm-hmm. So opening this gap is the introducing awareness into what I'm doing, and as Feldenkrais said it beautifully, know what you're doing in order to do what you want. And it dawned at me that it is exactly the same of what you do in therapy. When you look into your emotions, you open a gap, you observe what happens in your body, how the emotion builds up, and you're in a safe situation, in a kind of a parenthesis in your daily life where you can stop and look. And it's exactly the same as what we do in meditation. When you observe your thoughts, you open a gap. So in all of these areas, and it happens, these are just areas of observation. We can observe the thoughts, we can observe the emotions, we can observe the stories that we are telling ourselves, or we can observe movement, and we open this gap of awareness. And this is where we become more dignified, because we have choice. We become free persons. So we are doing it through movement because this is our area of expertise, but the gap is the same one, and the change is the same. It's global. When you become aware, as Alan said in his talk, awareness is irreversible. You start noticing, and you cannot unnotice what you notice. Awareness is a practice, and we learn it. We learn it. This is why people keep coming. You don't learn it in one class. You take another class and another class, and the beautiful thing in our modality is that classes are always different. It's never boring. You don't do the same. So you practice the same thing in a million different ways. And in this space that we're opening, that is called awareness, we can grow and become freer.
And I think like some concrete things are coming to mind. Actually, I think it's a really great question, Lavinia, that I'm like, I would love to just create a whole brainstorm of all the different ways that we create or support this emergence of choice in the method, because there's so many different strategies, like what you just said, Michael, about in many different ways, or the fact that there's novelty, like through novelty, we create choices through doing the same thing in 3 different ways, 4 different ways, the same movement in different ways, or taking the same movement and bringing it into a different orientation and another different orientation. And then the other thing I was thinking about is how the permission, the permission to rest, or the permission to not listen to the teacher. I mean, I think that to honor to be kind to ourselves, to refer to Alan's talk about, this, like, are you moving in a way that feels good to you? Like having these questions being asked in terms of the classes, but then also with the touch, having someone touch me in a way that is without a sense of judgment or evaluation, like that gives me a different choice